Happy Fearless Friday. I'm gonna share my own story. Um, there are a couple pivotal moments in my life where I made really difficult decisions. Places in my life where I'd come to a point where I realized that I was no longer being true to myself. I didn't have the words for it back then, but as I look back, that's exactly what I was doing. So my inner self knew that the choices that I had made and the place that I was in life was not where I needed to be. It had served a purpose in teaching me, but that the place that I was living in no longer served me. The latest decision, where I realized that I had truly lost myself, was around 2015. Was in a relationship for nearly, at that time, 19 or so years, and I realized that through my husband's addiction at the time that I had lost all sense of who I was. I had thrown myself into his life completely to try to fix him, if you will, and understand him. And it just, for those of you who have any awareness of addiction, it's never about the family members. It's always about the person struggling, but it's difficult when you watch someone throw away everything and you don't understand why. So I threw myself into that life of trying to be there for him and fix him and make everything perfect around him so that he wouldn't have to struggle anymore. But obviously that's not the answer. So in 2015, I made the choice to get a divorce, and I felt like a failure. I felt like I was letting him down, and I know better now, but at the time, it felt like I was letting him down and deserting him and deserting the life that we had built. And for probably a good, year or two before that, I was searching and trying to figure out how I could better myself and how I could make changes. But the reality was that I was still living in this environment that was no longer serving either one of us, to be fair. And June 1st of 2016 was the day that I filed, and I was so scared. A, leaving a relationship of 20 years is terrifying. B, what would happen to him, even though we vowed to still be close friends. We can say one thing, but we don't actually know what's going to happen. And then living on my own again, even though I cherish my alone time, it was terrifying. And all the questions, all the what ifs of the relationship and his addiction and my own survival and financials and the house and my career and all these things, I had no idea what was going to happen. But I knew that living the way I was living was going to kill me. And so even though I was terrified, I decided to fear a little bit less and take a huge leap of faith. I have other parts of my story where I've done such things, like leaving my full-time career, and as a gymnast leaving a full-ride scholarship, and living with a foster family for a year when I left my family to train. I realized looking at my life that I've had lots of moments where I've been terrified, and I've taken the step. And it's what we do when we know that something's no longer serving us. So, we have the thoughts in our head that say, this can't be all, this can't be right, something's not right here. It's like you have that intuitive thought. And then the thoughts become words when you speak them out and you tell someone else, you share with them that things are not okay. So thought becomes word, becomes action. You take that first step in, okay, I know this isn't right, and I've talked with someone, and now it's time to do the work. And you step into those very small steps of taking care of yourself. For me, when I realized I didn't know who I was anymore, it was, wow, I do things now that I used to never do, and they don't resonate with me. Or all those things that I used to do that brought me joy, I don't do anymore because I'm so wrapped up in these other problems or challenges or issues. So for those of you struggling with whatever it is, know that you are not alone. And sometimes our stories vary a little bit from the details of the story, but at its core and the innermost depths, a lot of it's the same issues, the feeling of unworthiness, the feeling of being less than or not good enough, that something's wrong with us. But those are not accurate thoughts. Those are not accurate statements. We are love. We are light. We are beauty. We are strength and power. And we are so much more, and we are enough, and we are worthy. It's just sometimes we forget. So here's to you remembering who you are, where you came from, and remembering why you're here, which is to step into your most authentic self, your higher self, and to live that life and share that with others. So doesn't mean we don't have any fear. Fear is actually quite healthy, but it's deciding to fear a little bit less, going back to remembering who we are, and that takes courage, it takes work, and I encourage you to start that path. And if you're on the path, to keep pushing forth and find who you are, remember who you are again, and to live that life to your fullest expression. So here's to being fearless on Friday and every day of your life. Cheers.